Hello, everybody. I have Patrick with me here today, and we are going to be talking about customer communication management, or if you don't want the whole mouthful there, CCM platforms. But before we dive into the questions that I have for you, Patrick, would you mind doing a quick introduction for everyone?
Absolutely. Thanks. I appreciate it. And hello, everyone. My name is Patrick Oakes. I'm here on the specialty sales side with Hyland that focuses in on our CCM solution or customer communications management solution. I've been in this space for about the last 9 or 10 years and certainly look forward to hopefully providing a few answers today and maybe having a few additional questions that come up.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, to that, kind of just to set the base for everybody that's joining us today that might not be familiar with what a CCM solution is, can you give us a quick overview of kind of what qualifies as a CCM solution?
Yeah, absolutely. No. So what a CCM solution does is it allows organizations to better improve their customers' experience by having a rules-based engine that allows you to create correspondence in a specific channel, for example, that your customer would like to have. So, Emma, we talk about maybe you and I, maybe you prefer to have your correspondence done via traditional print in the mail. I prefer to get an email. Somebody else would prefer a text message that would go to a portal and consume that information. So there's a lot of different channels to communicate with your customers, but it needs to have some rules wrapped around it because you want to make sure that what you're communicating to your customers is the proper message at the proper time, but you want to personalize as much as you can. So allowing a CCM solution to come in helps automate and simplify a very complex process of creating correspondence and being able to engage and improve your customer's experience.
Great, thank you. So, a lot of the focus of digital transformation in I'm thinking specifically of healthcare and insurance and, all of these industries that have a lot of information that they're sending out. Customer experience is a huge part of digital transformation. Can you talk a little bit about how CCM and kind of these mechanisms for communicating with your customers play into that transformation?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Emma. So there are some very well-defined use cases for a lot of verticals that engage in CCM. But if you really just take an abstract view, a lot of organizations have a significant amount of data on their customers and language preferences, communications, being able to potentially cross-sell some additional information to a customer. The challenge becomes how do we leverage that data to enrich their transformation, to enrich their experience, and then how do we do it in an age that we can automate the process and do it in a way that is efficient for an organization to maintain and manage? What we see a lot of times within organizations is you've got your subject matter experts that are writing the requirements of what kind of correspondence needs to go out, and then they hand that over to their IT folks to go ahead and develop that and create it because it becomes a fairly technical process in order to get into those line of business applications. With a solution like Content Composer, we've been able to streamline that process by allowing that business user, that subject matter expert, to go in and maintain and create their own template repository. Again, still having all the rules, still having all the approval process put in place, but really just kind of help streamline that process of communication. So as customers are looking to help in this digital transformation, whether it's through engagement or retention of their customer base, they're really looking for in that edge to how do we better communicate, how do we better present ourselves within the organization. So you mentioned like insurance, for example. It's a pretty good use case to say, you've got somebody that makes a claim, they're kind of at the low point of where they need that insurance company to help interact with them. How does that insurance company help in that process, right? So if it's a first notice of loss, if it's driving them through that claim process, if it's giving them updates via a text message, how are they able to in real time communicate with their customer to better overall improve their customer experience?
I think a big thing that you mentioned is maybe helping remove some of the reliance on the IT department to maintain and update any of the templates or communications that are going out. And then also just taking some of the ownership of what language preference or, like you said, how do they prefer to be contacted, all of that, and using the rules and the logic to allow your people to focus on providing that really great care rather than all of the nuances of how that notification goes out to the customer. Specifically, that IT reliance is something that I hear a lot from people that we need to get out from underneath them changing these templates so that we can respond to our customers a little bit more effectively.
You're absolutely right, Emma. And just to build on that a little bit more, not only does the business folks potentially want to take that responsibility back, but IT, it's primarily a secondary function of theirs anyway. So they'd love to get rid of that responsibility. Again, still making sure that the rules are in place, still making sure what's being communicated is proper. But if they can allow a business user to and a subject matter expert to create and maintain that, it really is a win within the organization.
Great. And I know we talked a little bit about how you work with Hyland and your specific focuses within CCM. I'm blanking on whether we actually called out the application content composer, but that is Hyland's CCM platform that's kind of within the larger content services suite. And it came to Hyland through an acquisition with Perceptive Software. And so there's been a lot of changes and a lot of updates to the platform over the last year or so. Can you share with us what you're most excited about with the advancement of Content Composer?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the great thing about Hyland's offering of Content Composer. For years, CCM has been a siloed product that was bolted onto a lot of line of business applications, right? So, it's just that CCM would have the ability just to go and consume information from line of business and push data out. With Hyland's overall platform, if you think about what Hyland does, and there's three legs to what Hyland does. Hyland does the ingestion of content through our capture and brainware solutions. We do our storage on the ECM, our on-base, and our perceptive. And now with Content Composer, we can really focus in on the output piece of it. So by allowing customers to have one centralized foundation from ingestion to output of data, it really puts us at a very unique offering. You're talking about not only the tight integrations that are built in there, but we're able to potentially leverage some of the capabilities that OnBase has, for example. So like workflows and approvals and being able to automatically put in correspondence going out into the ECM and then being able to drive OnBase to create correspondence. It really helps streamline the number of vendors an organization has to deal with because Hyland has that overall foundation. The improvements that we have made specifically in just the feature set of Content Composer has really started to get the eyes of analysts and our customers as well. We are looking at helping through the migration strategy by leveraging our brainware technology to help customers bring in existing templates into our solution. Customers that have our module called Doc Composition of OnBase, we're able to allow customers who have done that work to hold that work and have Content Composer go in there and reach in and create correspondence off of the work they've already created. We're looking at doing some things like having a container strategy for our service offering, not only from when we go into the Hyland Experience Cloud, which we are today, to be able to just release certain sets into a container so that a customer can consume that and very quickly be able to use some of the feature set that's in Content Composer. So we've really redefined what a CCM is and have included it as an overall foundational strategy. And like I said, the feedback from customers and prospects and the analysts that are out there we're really kind of reshaping and redefining what CCM is.
I agree with the idea of not having that standalone solution and the value that comes from being able to have a workflow task that sends out a notification. Again, it's really that idea that's kind of central to Hyland's strategy for years of bringing all of these tools together to one spot, surrounding your knowledge workers so that they can, again, focus on taking good care of your customers and focus on the tasks that require their attention rather than all of the noise of capturing information or keeping track of stuff that rules and logic can do for you. So it's a exciting enhancement to see. And I know there's, like you said, a lot of excitement from customers as well as those analysts surrounding Content Composer. I appreciate you coming and joining me for the conversation today, Patrick. And please, anybody who has additional questions, reach out to myself or Patrick. We'd be happy to help direct you and answer those questions as needed. But otherwise, everybody have a wonderful day.